Hey guys, it's Dave. Just wanted to give a heads up before the episode starts. During episode 8, Caitlin goes into depth about her addiction and past experiences with drugs and alcohol. Up to this point, we've more focused on the recovery of our addictions and haven't delved too deep into the actual addictions themselves. So we wanted to give a trigger warning ahead of time that we go into it pretty heavily in this episode. So much so that it takes up the majority of the runtime. There were also numerous technical difficulties, including almost losing the whole episode, so you will notice a few cuts and edits patching it together. We took all this as a sign that we were on the right track with this episode and to push through when we wanted to give up several times throughout. So please, with all this in mind, we hope you enjoy the episode, and if it connects with you, please let us know. With much love, Dave and Caitlin.
We're Christians, but we live life by the red letters. We believe that Black Lives Matter. We are pro-choice, and we are unapologetically 100% allies, supporters to the LGBTQIA plus community, and that will never change.
Yeah.
We're like radical progressive.
Yeah.
Hear me out, you little...
Just hear me out. Hear me out.
Just hear me out. Hear me out.
Try again.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. I can't clap. What is wrong with me?
That's okay.
Welcome to episode 8. Okay, so hear me out. All there on the screen so you can read it.
Hi.
Caitlin, Dave,
Hey.
here for another round of this shit.
Riley Rue.
Riley Rue on the Riley cam, which we've adjusted here. So now you get a close-up of her, so it's not so pixelated. This is our second time trying to record this because my computer's being a biatch, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it don't fuck up. Okay, so...
Here we go. One more time.
We're starting with comments again?
Yes.
Okay, so Evan sent this this morning and says November 17th. It's on. So he's all prepped for the Packers versus the Bears, November 17th. What is that, a Sunday? What day of the week is that? Hey Siri, what day of the week is November 17th?
It's Sunday, November 17th.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that'll be after or before?
It'll be before the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we'll talk about it, Evan. Don't you worry.
Yeah, we'll be good.
Whether or not if we win depends on if I do a podcast that day, because I might just avoid. I'm just kidding.
Right.
Just kidding. Anyway, so apparently Evan and I are beefing because he's a Bears fan and I'm a Packers fan. But here's the thing. And I'm going to get a lot of heat for this one. I already know. The only team that I ever beefed with was the Patriots. And that was because of Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's just only Tom Brady.
And then he moved to Florida. So then I beefed with Florida.
Yeah.
Because Tom Brady he has enough. He's got full hand. He doesn't need any more.
I see.
So
your only beef with any football team is whoever Tom Brady is
currently
associated
with. And now
with.
he's not associated with any of them. They are retiring his jersey number and they're doing the thing. So peace
so
out.
You're just like, peace out.
Yeah. Bye.
Let's have fun.
Whatever. Don't fucking care.
Let's all play the game.
Yeah. Let's just have fun, boys. No, I mean, like, you know, it's all in good competition. And I am not a good sport. I do not have good sportsmanship at all.
Are you a sore loser or a sore winner?
Both. I'm a fucking asshole no matter what happens. So I will rub it in your face if I win, and I will bitch you out if I lose. So either way, I'm a bitch. So it just happens.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we can look forward to.
Yay.
Great.
Yeah. So like this entire football season, our podcasts and my mood on the podcasts, I'm now you know what, with these ADHD phases that we're going through, you can just wipe them out and it's now NHL or NFL phase.
Football season. So
that is my phase. I'm in football season. So, whatever happens in the game will depend on my mood on the podcast.
I see.
Yep.
Very good. So we might as well just...
We can pause it until after football season.
There you go.
Because we'll just do the NFL season. That's a phase. That's a stage, I guess.
So this is in reference to my grievance for last week, where I talked about the girl at the wedding who claimed Bloodhound Gang had a song called 3.
Yeah.
So, and then we said maybe it was track 3.
Yeah.
My friend Robin Bursey, he actually went and checked.
And it is not, in fact.
It is not even track 3 on that album. I fact check. So we don't know where she pulled the number 3 out of her ass.
Guys, drunk bitches are just a next level. Like, just leave them alone. It's those white girls, man.
White girl wasted. Always So, in reference to you telling our story the other week about you and you arguing with Derek to go up and see me and Jacob at banquet.
Yeah.
Derek says, I don't know, but I got tired of every time we'd run into you, she'd go, I'm going to marry that man.
And then Derek would go, he would say, listen, no, it's so funny because Derek would say, he's already married. Yeah. And I'd say, watch me. And
here we are. I knew nothing of this.
Derek's got the ring.
Derek's got all the fucking inside
Derek
scoop.
has so much inside scoop on me. It is scary. Like, he's got so much.
This was complete news to me.
That's okay. You know, there's some things you
I'm
don't need to know.
I'm going to marry that man.
Yeah.
Wow. And you always get what you want.
I do always get what I want. Yeah.
Okay. So let's, we'll end with that one.
Yeah.
We got one more. So one of our clips posted on Threads, this guy suffers from ADHD as well. Yeah. He says he gets time blindness, RSD. I don't know what RSD is. You know what RSD is?
I know what it rejection sensitive dysphoria.
Okay, I just needed to read ahead. Look at that. Hyperfocus, flaccid, hypofixation are the major ones we all seem to have. There are specifics for different flavors of spicy, but rejection sensitive dysphoria may be relevant to ADHD OCD, as it is literally pain of not being able to live up to expectation.
Yeah, so I have RSD is actually one that I haven't touched on it because I haven't touched on RSD. Time blindness, 110%, because I never know what time it is. I don't know how long it takes me to do things. I am so oblivious, like, to my surroundings of, like, but at the same time, so this is again, like, where it's so hard to explain, and it's so hard because I have time blindness, but my OCD needs me to be on time.
Yeah.
So I almost can't get anything done properly because the OCD side of my brain is like, we need to be here at this time. But my ADHD is like, but I have all the time in the world. And my OCD is like, no, but you don't have all the time in the world. And my ADHD is like, no, but we have all the time in the world. So they're like, I'm constantly fighting against myself. And this is where, like, I can relate to some of these things.
Yeah.
Hyper focus and hyper focus. I can if I'm on Vyvanse. Like, if I have my Vyvanse, then I can hyper focus on things. I can't otherwise. I get very, like, I'm scattered. And you watch me.
Yeah.
And you looked at me the other day and you're like, I literally cannot wait for these Voomies to ship because I don't like...
You're all over the place.
I don't like the way you are right now for you.
Yeah.
Because I get very frustrated. And I get so annoyed because I'm, like, doing laundry and then I'm out of nowhere. I'm, like, sweeping the couch. Doesn't make any sense, but I got a broom up to the couch. And then I'm like, I go outside for a smoke and then I forget that I was supposed to go have a shower. And then I realize that I can't shower because my towels are still in the washer because I didn't put them in the dryer because I got busy sweeping the couch. So then I start vacuuming the floors while I'm waiting for and then I forget to put them in the dryer. Like, it's so much.
Yeah, you literally, like, I heard you grunt like 3 times yesterday. Oh, towels.
Yeah.
Because you kept forgetting.
It's really, really hard. So the rejection sensitive dysphoria is probably one of my biggest ones because I have, like, a fear of not living up to expectations. Like, my mom says it all the time, right? She says it to me all the time. And we had that conversation with her where she was like, your expectations are way too high of yourself.
Yeah, because nobody has expectations for you.
No, nobody expects me to do things, and nobody has these expectations that I'm to do things a certain way or to get them done or to have the house a certain way. it's my OCD, which is the biggest part of it, right? So then when I don't get them done, like, or when people go, the biggest thing for ADHD is you never text somebody from ADHD who has ADHD and say, we need to talk. Are you busy later? I need to come talk to you.
Yeah.
Because now we instantly think we did something wrong.
You've gone right to the worst place possible.
Worst part possible. Or if somebody calls me who doesn't normally call me and I call them right back and they don't answer, it's like, or if I say something to somebody that, like if I speak to somebody some way and they like ask me to repeat myself, I instantly think I insulted them. But then the bitch side of me is like, I really could care less if I insulted you, but like, what's wrong? Like, did I say something wrong to you? Like what happened for you to get upset? And they're like, no, I'm not upset. I just wanted you to repeat what you said. So it's, I mean, I honestly wish that this was it.
Right.
But I have OCD that fights against all of this. So hyperfixation is like probably the one that I can relate to the most because OCD makes me hyperfixate on cleaning and stuff like that. So it's one where they kind of play together, like they go well together. But if I am not medicated, they don't, because I can't fixate, I can't focus, I can't do anything. I'm literally all over the place, and then I get really, really pissed off and I get really upset, and then I'm on the couch and I'm like, I'm done. I can't do anything now. So it's a vicious circle, this mental health of mine.
Yeah, apparently. And we're discovering new fucking pits and shit in it all the time. So thanks for BK Fits for...
I mean, if you have any, like, BK Fits, if there's any more that you have, like, if you have anything else that you can add to it of what I just said, then please feel free to continue to reach out. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
This is just a small sample of the palette that you've got to deal with every day. Disgusting. All right, our last comment comes from, it's a follow-up from Tokyo Mike, who... Can
you go over that? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he watched episode 7 that just came out.
Yeah.
And he said, ADHD stacked with OCD is for sure a new side swing of things. It's interesting to hear how medicating one is bringing the other to the forefront. Let me make this a little bigger. Too big. Other to the forefront. That's a lot to handle, I can imagine. I've got mild OCD tendencies, but not to that extent or even close to, but holy. As for popping by, of course, guys, good time to drive back to the Mac and gotta listen to heck yeah. Oh, the episode. Okay. What's Caitlin going back to school for? As a fellow ADHDer who's doing distance university, I'm curious to see how this process will look for her and what she's going to take, to be honest. I'm pretty interested to see how that's going to go, too.
But I know we can I can answer that because I already...
Also, the curious side of me makes me wonder about more about past addictions. Was there a trigger event? Was there a start? Did it gateway from other substances, or how did that become a lifestyle? Understand why it may abstain due to it helping function due to ADHD and no meds. It's a changer. My takeaway from grievances, country music is trash and shouldn't exist. Okay, thanks, bye. Absolutely correct, Mike. As always, thank you so much for that feedback. Country music is trash and should not exist.
Okay.
So yeah, he's got a few points in there. Okay. I guess the first one would be, what are you going back to school for?
So I, starting September 30th, will be adventuring down the rabbit hole of addictions counseling and mental health community service worker.
Now, is this something that's always been close to your heart, or just recently because you got sober?
Just since I got sober.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, no, honestly, you know what? Here's the thing. I remember just because I have addiction runs in my family, right? So I remember coming out of high school and looking into doing the addictions counseling course in Newfoundland. And they actually drug test you in the course at, not at one university, the one in Corner Brook. What's that school called? Kona, yeah. College of North Atlantic, yeah. So they actually drug test you and alcohol test you. And at the time, I was like 18, 19 years old. And I was like, well, I can't drink for 2 years. And you're not allowed to drink for the entire, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the time, I obviously, and to me, I guess I felt like I couldn't relate So what hit me the most was there was a family member of mine who went through a very heavy addiction period, and they went to treatment in an undisclosed place in Canada, and their therapist they had sat down in the room and looked at them and said, or my family member looked at the therapist and said, "So, what drug are you recovering from?" And this therapist looked at him and said, "I've never done drugs in my life." And they got up and walked out of the room. It was like, this is stupid for me. So to me, I understand that there are people who just want to help, and I really appreciate that. Yeah. But
there is a spot for that.
There's something to say about people who are just willing to help. Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like in order to level with an addict, you need to have been an addict because you don't get it. There's no book in the world that will ever explain to you the feeling that you get when you do a line of cocaine, or the feeling you get when you do a hit of heroin, or the feeling you get when the Molly kicks in and the beat is just right, or when you're having when you're shaking and you're in pain and you take a taste of alcohol and the shakes go away. Nobody can read that in a book. And understand what that means to an addict. Absolutely. I could never sit down and look at somebody. I've never done heroin. I've never smoked crack. I was very stuck up in my addiction. And that's what I like to say. I was very stuck up. I was like, ew. Yeah. You smoke crack? Like, I would never. But now here's the thing.
That's so funny that there's different societal tiers of...
there literally is. So there's actually a girl on, I was gonna bring her up. I can't remember her name. I'll have to put it in here after. There's a girl on Facebook who does these reels, and there's when you're the rich addict, the pretty addict, the stuck up addict, and like the rich addict who's like the girl who has money, right? Who can just call her dealer and say, "Hey, come right now." Yep. And they're like, "Oh, I'm going to be about a half an hour." And she goes, "No, I'll pay extra." And they're like, "Oh, I'm on the way." Yeah. And then there's the pretty addict who can, you know what I mean? There's so many different levels to it. So, and she does the one about being a stuck up addict where it's like, I literally am on day 6 of sniffing lines and drinking booze, and somebody sits down next to me, smoke crack. And I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing? That's disgusting. Yeah. Go away." Right. But now here's the thing is that I'm not downing anybody who smokes crack at all.
Everybody's got a vice.
Everybody has a vice, and everybody's got something that works for them. Crack is what happens when cocaine doesn't work anymore. Yeah. That is what happens. The reason why I never ventured into another drug is because of what I seen other people like on it. Yeah. So the very first time I experienced people smoking crack was in Calgary, and I walked into this party and I could smell, I always say crack smells like Fruit Loops. Like the smoke, it does. The smoke smells like Fruit Loops, or Earl Grey tea is actually a really good way to explain it. If you smell Earl Grey tea, just the tea bags, that's literally what crack smells like when it's being smoked. Okay. So I walked into this house, and there's like a door that goes into the basement, and it smelled like Earl Grey tea, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like, it was like a Fruit Loopy smell. Anyway, and some girl was like, "Don't go down there. Like, it's just a whole different fucking whatever." And me being the nosy bitch that I am, and I'm like, "Well, I'm fucking bopping around. I want to go meet new people." And they're all sitting in this deep, dark basement. The windows are covered. The only light they have is a flashlight. And they're all going, "Shh, shh." And I was like, "What is happening?" Yeah. And they were all like, you know what I mean? But now, at the same time, one of my really good buddies, back from my addiction days, smoked crack every time I did lines and did not act like that. Yeah. There are people who sniff lines that I used to fuck with and knock on the wall, and he'd grab a machete. So everybody has a different level, right?
People act like that on Molly.
Yeah. So it literally depends on your brain chemistry, right? And what's going on. I never had paranoia. Like, I never got to a point. I never hit psychosis. There's a lot of friends of mine. I did it again.
Well, but
yeah, we'll blank that out. Every time we would go on a bender, he would fall into a cocaine psychosis, and he thought the whole world was out to get him. At this point, it was
on coke?
Just on coke. But because he had done so much of it, he altered his brain chemistry. He was also bipolar. So his brain chemistry was so messed up that, like, every time he did it, it got worse. So, like, an SUV would drive by and he's like, "It's the FBI." And I'm like, they don't come to Canada. Like, they're not
here, man.
They're not here, man. Like, do you know what our FBI is? It's the RCMP. Like, that's who you should.
Yeah.
No, they sent the FBI, and I'm like, you are not that big of a deal that they feel like they need to call the FBI. By the way, we have a higher up program. It's called CSIS.
Yeah.
And y'all, you don't want CSIS after you, and you don't know that they're after you.
Nobody knows about them.
Nobody knows about them. You literally talk about CSIS, and people are like, what the fuck is CSIS? And you're like, it's our CIA. But you don't, if they're after you, you have no idea they're after you. So they don't creep around in SUVs. Like, it's not what happens.
Yeah.
So, like, everybody's brain chemistry when it comes to drugs is different. So I just know that because of the traumas that I went through going through the addiction, that had I stepped up my drug game, I would not have ever come out of it.
Yeah.
Because I do have a very addictive personality, and I latch on to things that make me feel good.
So you were at least self-aware enough to know that if you step into that room,
yeah, I've never, and I will tell you guys, this is like honest to God's truth. I've never gambled a day in my life. Mm-hmm. I've never put money into a slot machine. Never done it.
Yeah.
And people are like, you've been to Vegas. I go for shopping. You don't gamble when you're in Vegas? No, because I know when I win, I'm fucked.
You never come back.
And there's a scientific study that shows that with gambling, the adrenaline rushes from losing. That's where you get your adrenaline from, and that's where you get the high, is from the loss. So can you imagine being addicted to something that the only way you get your boost is when you lose thousands of dollars?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
No, thank you. I'll pass.
So I again, raised in Newfoundland, managed bars in Newfoundland, and bars back home have VLTs in them.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. Like, I've watched. Now, at the same time, I'm no better.
No.
Because I don't know if you remember this conversation that you and I had when we were driving. I don't know where we were going. And I literally worked it out on a calculator if I had actually sniffed my weight in cocaine.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And we worked it out that I actually sniffed triple my weight in cocaine in 5 years.
Yeah. Wild.
Because of the amount, because I knew how much I was snorting every day.
Now we laugh and we make fun of drugs and stuff because we're addicts, because we're out of it and we're sober. Like, we're not going to come down on anybody for whatever their drug is, crack, heroin, black tar, fucking wine, whatever your vice is, that's your vice for a reason, and we're not going to shit on you for it.
No.
But we make fun of it all because we spent a long time in that life. And it's just, all you can do is, it's either you cry about it or you laugh about it.
Yeah, and we're very, like, and it's not only that, it's a part of the healing, right? So, at the beginning of when I first got sober, I could have never sat down like this and talked about it.
No.
It was a very touchy subject for me, where people would ask me about it and I would break down and cry because I was almost ashamed of when I thought back on what I did and, the people that I hurt, and the
Okay, you're going to notice a little bit of a cut there because our computer fucked up just while she was in the middle of doing her audio. The devil's working hard against us today.
He is, yeah. He's been working hard against me since I went to church, actually. So, anyway, because I guess he knew this was going to be an important conversation today.
Yeah.
So to have these conversations
when you first got sober.
When I first got sober would have been a lot harder than what they are now, and that's just a part of the healing, right? Like, I'm at the point now where I can kind of think back on some of the shit I've done and been like, you're an idiot. Yeah. Like, why would you do that? Whereas 4.5 years ago, I wouldn't have. The first year of sobriety was like really learning, really just learning
everything.
Yeah, I had to literally.
You started over.
The hardest part, and this is one thing that I tell everybody, and it's a question I get a lot, is what's the hardest part about sobriety? And the hardest part about sobriety is learning who you are again.
Yeah, because you had.
I was for 13 years. I was the girl.
Yeah. Right.
I was the party girl. I was the go get you drugs girl. I was the drug dealer. I was the one everybody called when they wanted to have a good time. But I was never me. And I didn't know who I was for a really long time. And I really think I'm only maybe just this past not even 2 years. I think this past year has probably been the biggest of me actually, like when I ran into that wall working with Dollarama and I had to take all that time off, was really like the eye opener of like, holy shit, like I actually don't know who I am and I don't know what my purpose is in this world.
Yeah.
But at the time, I just knew it wasn't being a Dollarama store manager for the rest of my life.
That was what you needed at the time to like get yourself to a state where you were level and neutral.
I don't think I was level and neutral at all. My boss at the time, when I had that breakdown with her in the office, was like, you replaced one addiction with another.
You just pushed it off.
I literally just took my addiction, got sober, and then went balls to the wall in my job.
Right.
So like I became the fastest person in Dollarama history to be made a training manager.
Yeah. I
was the first person to I was like the fastest person to be promoted to store manager. So like, you know what I mean? Like there was just a lot of things that I did because I literally went hard because I needed to submerge myself in something so that I didn't think about the drugs.
Right.
And I didn't, you know what I mean? When, mind you, Dollarama made me want to do drugs more than anything.
So you just did replacement therapy.
Basically, that's what I think happened. And then I think once my stepdad got sick last year, everything just kind of came to a halt. And my body and my brain finally both kind of came in line with each other. And they were like, okay, this isn't working anymore. You can't hide from what's happening. And at that point, that was when I was like trying to decide if I was going to go to Bible college or if I was going to do Bible study,
right.
If I was going to be a pastor, if I was going to do pastoral care and counseling. And then, Ginger Gravol is disgusting.
She's had fighting the vertigo today.
Yeah.
From coming off the effects there.
Anyway, so I took, the pharmacist recommended taking Gravol, and Ginger Gravol is the one that doesn't make you drowsy.
Yeah.
So I took a gel cap, vertigo, goodbye. Ginger, hello. Fuck. Anyway, yeah, so like, and then I think what made me finally, Mike, to come back to actually answering your question that you asked 30 minutes ago, is that I was really stuck between pastoral care and counseling, where I was going to go and do it the Bible way.
Yeah.
And then there was addictions counseling and the mental health communities worker, where I do it my way.
Yeah.
With God.
Yeah.
So the problem with, here's the thing is that, so when you work with AHS, which is really where I want to focus because I want to work with Recovery Alberta. That's a dream. That's my dream, is to work with Recovery Alberta.
What's so special about Recovery Alberta?
So AHS took the addictions part of AHS and made it its own entity.
So it's not.
So now there's an entire entity through Alberta Health Services called Recovery Alberta that is focused solely on addictions and the epidemic that is addiction and drug use in Alberta.
It's not just an offshoot of some service. It's a dedicated
service to addictions. Anyway, so it goes both ways. So AHS, they are very anti-spiritual. You have to go by the book, by the medicine, by the science. Pastoral care and counseling is by the Bible, no science.
Yeah.
So my goal, honestly, is to go into this with AHS, get my work experience, get my diploma, move on to my degree, and then I'll open my own practice where I can do things on my way.
Right.
So yeah.
Because you did it from a religious standpoint.
Yes.
Do you think you could have if you didn't?
No. There's no way. There's absolutely
you
no...
went straight cold turkey.
Yeah, I didn't. I literally did my last line of cocaine on, I think it was January 25th at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Banquet. Our first
date. And
was
in Jacob's Garage. And then I was staying at your house the next day. And I never touched it ever since.
Which is fucking crazy.
Yeah. No booze. I've never had a drink. I've never had a line. I've never once even nothing.
I didn't even see you go through withdrawals.
The booze I did a little bit. So here's a really cool fun fact about cocaine that a lot of people don't know is that there are not physical withdrawals when it comes to cocaine. It is one of the very few drugs that it's more of a mental withdrawal than it is a physical.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. So the spinning out was me withdrawing. So like technically because I didn't have my ADHD medication. Yeah. So if you think back to how I was acting.
Is that withdrawal or is that you just not having your ADHD medication?
It's a little bit, it's both, right? Because so with cocaine, you're constantly doing something. You're always having conversation. You're always focused on stuff. You're yada, 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 starting a new fucking job, a new fucking venture. You're starting businesses. You're taking on the world, right? So there's your addiction with cocaine. There's no... Now, unless this has changed in the last 5 years, because I have not looked into this since I got sober. So if I am wrong, please feel free to correct me, anybody who's watching this. But there's no physical bodily aspect to a cocaine addiction. It is all mental.
Right.
So much so.
Aside from a...
Yeah. So much. I never did that,
Jello jaws.
So much, though. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, anyway. Which we'll eventually get into as to how I know that. So, so that's what I'm doing in school, Mike. I don't know how we got that far.
It'd take 20 minutes to answer your question. Yeah, so she's going to school for addictions counseling.
So the distance university. So there's two things, obviously, that I've majorly invested in. So I just placed a really big order with Voomies. And I have, like, when I'm taking Voomies, guys, I'm a completely different person. Like, it's different than Vyvanse. It's different than anything I've ever had before.
When the Voomies when it does show up, I want to do a concept episode where we split it in half. Okay. The first half is you with nothing. Yeah. And then we'll take the Voomies. Yeah. We'll show how it's done. Yeah. And then we'll take a break for an hour. Okay. Until it kicks in, and then we'll come back and do the second half. Yeah, because you're literally the only one who I notice it, because the busyness in my brain stops. And that's the biggest part, is because, like, if I don't take my meds, I can't watch a TV show. No. Which is painful. Yeah. Like, I either fall asleep or I scroll on my phone the entire time. Unless I'm medicated. We're going through a series. You'll watch the show. I watch the show 3 times. Because we got to watch episode 3 full times. To get through it. Because I don't understand what happened. Or you'll fall asleep. Or you'll get up. Or you'll start ticking around something else. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and then I also which, Mike, might be something that you might want to look into. There we go. Yourself. Is I got the Looper earplugs. And it was actually Tara who invented the Voomies. She has recently started using them. And it just kind of helps her focus because it blocks out the background noise. So there's 2, right? One is for like full... There's 3 different ones. There's like for when you're at a concert, so that if it's too loud, it kind of dulls it down a little bit. There's for when you're like at parties and stuff, so it like dulls the noise around you, but you can still have conversations. Yeah. And then there's the quiet, which is where it blocks everything out. Nice. Which is good for like... If you want to focus on what ginger tastes like. I mean, the vertigo's gone, but woof. Anyway, so that's my plan. I mean, here's the thing, is that at the end of the day, every day is going to be different. Yeah. With the program that I'm doing, I only have to dedicate 22 hours a week in order to finish on time. So, I mean... For somebody with ADHD, as soon as they're medicated, that's like 2 days. Yeah. And I can have a whole week's worth of stuff done, right? So I can literally do 5 hours a day, and I'm fine, right? But knowing me, once I get into it, like I was looking at the course outline last night while we were watching Twisters. See what I mean? I was literally, and then I was on Amazon picking out my notebooks for each course. Because there has to be anyway, I was planning my school. Yeah, this is what I mean. This is what happens. This is exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. Anyway, and like
it's all going to be so interesting because there's like relapse prevention and like everything. So it's going to be like, I think once I get into it, there's not going to be any stopping me. Like, I think it's going to be really hard to get me to stop.
Yeah, exactly. I think once you're...
Because I'm so passionate about it.
And interested in it.
Yeah.
His last question was there a gateway event that started your addiction? You and I discussed this the other night. Because I wasn't sure if you'd want to talk about it or not. Yeah.
I mean, we definitely need to put a trigger warning at the beginning of this episode, because this episode went from us talking about ADHD to addiction, which, Mike, awesome. Thank you so much for bringing it up, because I've never really dove deep. We haven't really dove deep into the addiction side of it yet either, right?
Yeah, so just more the recovery.
And I will, you actually love this story. You think it's so funny. And it's not. Like, it is, but it isn't. So there was some things that happened early on in my life that, that I guess you could say would be what pushed me towards it. But I don't think that's why. Yeah. When I graduated high school in 2006, I moved to Calgary. And all through high school, after graduating high school, our grad party, every party we ever went to, prided myself on the fact that I was anti-drug. I never touched drugs. I didn't really, I had friends of mine who would do, ecstasy and stuff. We did, do you remember, the sleepathons? Did you guys do those in high school? Where you, raised money? And then you went and stayed up all night at the school and had a dance, and there was junk food and stuff like that. Yeah. So friends of mine were in grade 12 doing ecstasy at these things, and I was bopping around with them and doing the thing, right? Same thing with we'd go to dances and stuff. We'd have our town dances and stuff for the teens, and all my friends would be fucked up on pills, and I would be right along with them the whole night, partying and dancing around, but no drugs. So I prided myself on that. So, when, oh, it's so funny. Anyway, so I was in Calgary, and, we went out to a bar, and then we left the bar and we went to an after party. And at this after party, everybody was doing cocaine. Now, this is back. Anybody who does drugs or used to do drugs.
If you're a connoisseur
of cocaine, will understand that 2006 cocaine is not 2024 cocaine. So this was in Calgary, where the main shipments, a lot of shipments come in and out of, yada, yada, yada. Good drugs. Nothing sketchy, really, as people call it, high heat, but it's just less cut. Basically, in the dope, right? So everyone's doing these lines, and I just remember being very drunk. I was shit-face hammered. Yeah. And everybody else was doing it, and I don't even know if I asked, to be honest with you, because I've been thinking about this since you and I talked about it. I don't know if I was how do I do it, or can I do it? It was just on the coffee table, and everybody else was doing it. Now, mind you, these people that were doing it had been doing cocaine for years. Yeah. A few years. This is my very first time. I decided that I was going to do this line that was sitting on the table but this long.
Yeah, big old fatty.
Yeah. So needless to say, it didn't go well. I got really, really sick. I was in bed for 3 days, couldn't go to work. I was so sick. Yeah. My overachiever brain was girl, you just did it wrong.
Yeah, you fucked it up somehow.
Because all I'd ever heard was about how amazing it makes you feel when you're drunk and yada, 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 and blah, 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 blah. So the next weekend rolls around and I tried it again, but I just did a little tiny bit, and I was oh, okay. So I kind of see it now. So, and then I didn't really do it a lot. It was just kind of every now and then. And then the defining moment that I can say where it hooked me was, so I told you, there was this bar called Tequila that used to do Tequila Tuesdays, so it was 50-cent tequila shots. Yeah. So the first time we did it, we went and those round bar tables, we had that covered in tequila shots. We spent $100 each on tequila shots, and that's all we drank.
Can't do it anymore.
Fuck no. So I remember, the last thing I remember is going outside, to go outside for a smoke, and I opened up the door and I face planted. When I woke up, I was in my bed covered in puke. Yeah. Just sick as a dog. A month later, I did the exact same thing with the exact same group of people with a gram of cocaine in my pocket, And I fucking remember the entire night and had the best night of my life.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is amazing. So now I can function while still getting drunk.
Yeah.
So then I put myself on this rule where it was like, I'll never pay for it. Like, I'm never going to go and call a drug dealer, because that, like, I can't imagine calling up a drug dealer and being like, hey, can you, like, I'm never going to do that. If somebody offers it to me, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm not. Like, it's
an
ick.
Arbitrary rules.
Yeah. Then when that fell through, then it was like, I'm never going to do it sober.
Yeah.
It's only going to be when I drink. Or no, I'm never going to do it sober. And I didn't for probably about 7 years. Mm-hmm. I never touched it sober. I never, like, drive railed ever.
Only when you drank?
Only when I drank.
But how often were you drinking?
All the time. So I don't fucking know what kind of a question that is.
None of your business.
Yeah, none of your business. But then there was a time when I came off of like a 2 or 3 day bender, and I was like, I'm fucking so hungover. I had to go to work to my big girl job that you despised.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, like, I literally can't do this today. And I opened up my cupboard, and there was a plate that still had dope left on it. And I was like, maybe if I just do a fucking line, it'll make me feel better.
Yeah.
Best day in sales I ever had. And then the fucking rest is history. Like, that's literally it. And it was really like, there was I was always a party girl, but never an addict.
Yeah.
Once I stopped working and began dealing full time, that's when I knew that there was no coming back from it.
Yeah.
I was in.
Yeah.
Especially how far in I got, there was no coming out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it literally had to have been God to pull me out, or I wasn't getting out.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way. Like, there's there's honestly, Mike, there's a lot of moments, I think, that, like, I can tell you that hooked me a little more each time. Right?
And that's how it works.
And that's where it was like, I was having such a bad day. And that line just numbed me enough that I could still feel the pain, but it wasn't so excruciating that I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
And then there was times when I was in so much pain emotionally that if I did enough coke, the emotion was gone. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to feel. So, and it was just tiny deciding little moments. And, like, honestly, it was the funny part is when I left Calgary to move back to Newfoundland, the drugs were shit. Like, it was like, so, like, when I was going to the bar in Calgary, like, I would buy a gram to go to the bar.
Yeah.
And that gram would last me from 10 o'clock to 6 a.m. because the drugs were so good back then that you could only literally do key bumps, and that's all you needed to do all night to keep you going. And then I got back to Newfoundland, and I'll never forget the first time I bought a gram of cocaine. And at the time in Calgary, a gram was like $60, I think, $55, depending on who you knew. An 8-ball was an actual 3.5 grams, and you paid $150 for it. And it was like, you were cracking it off of, like, itself. Like, it was hard. And I go home to Newfoundland, and I'm like, well, you know, everyone's getting on the go tonight, so, you know, I'll get on the gear too. And little did I know that you got to pre-order your drugs back home in Newfoundland back then, because, like, cocaine, because at that point, and you literally did, like, if you were going out Friday, you literally had to, because they would have to drive to, like, Stephenville or St. John's to go pick up their load for the week. Yeah. So you'd have to text them on Monday and be like, yo, I'm going to need this much for the weekend. It was fucked. But because cocaine wasn't so popular back then, this is 2007, everybody was doing ecstasy.
Right.
Pills were like the rage back then. So the first time I ever did ecstasy was when I was high on cocaine. I never would have touched it otherwise. Yeah. Never in a million years. First time I did acid, and only time I did acid, I was high on coke, and DJ Sinna, God rest his soul, that man saved my life.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just, you know what I mean? So it was like, you had to pre-order your drugs. And then I remembered getting it. And I like, everybody's like fucking pouring out half the bag. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys? You guys are fucked, man. So I just do a little whatever. And I was like,
Yeah. More stepped on than a Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah. And that was kind of like the dangerous moment, because then I was like, well, fuck, man, I may as well just do ecstasy. Because at least I know if we get the white pills, we know what we're getting.
Yeah.
So we always would drive to St. John's, or we would call somebody and be like, make sure you bring in the fucking white triple stack dolphins or fucking lightning strikes or whatever the fuck, but they had to be white. Or the fucking pink buggies. Those ones were fucked too. This is so weird. Anyway, so like so then I went through like an ecstasy phase, but I would still, like, my come down would be, because I learned that the cocaine and ecstasy or Molly and cocaine, they counteract each other.
Yeah.
So if you're really, really sketchy on dope, like on coke, you just drop a little parachute of Molly and it levels you out, and that sketchiness goes away. If you're on a Molly wave and you're peaking too much, you do a line. And I guarantee you, Derek is going to give you a story about that. I know exactly what story he's going to tell me. And I'm not even going to bring it up because I want to see if he comments it. Because he will tell you.
That's so funny.
Actually, no, him and I, in the run of 2 days, sniffed an ounce of Molly. Just the two of us. And I was bouncing around and would not stop. So, and I was like cleaning Jacob's apartment, and I was like, I kept playing Freaks by Timmy Trumpet on repeat, and I wouldn't stop. So Derek literally like called up his buddy and got a gram of blow and was like, here, Caitlin, do a line of this. And I did a line, and it fucking shut down my Molly high. I was so fucking mad. So mad. Yeah, it was wild. But anyway, yeah. So like, I mean, like I said, I think there wasn't one major moment, but I think there was a bunch of little moments that kind of kept my addiction climbing.
See, that's what I like about that story, is because most people, and for a lot of people it is, there's a trigger moment that clicks them into addiction. Mine was getting divorced. That full event just flicked me full bore into alcoholism and addiction. But for you, there's no real event. It's just a couple of certain choices that you made to get there. Yeah. Which is way more important, because everybody thinks there's like, oh, well, if there's no specific trauma, then there's no reason for me to do it. But it's sneaky.
No, it doesn't work. It's very sneaky, because and when I say there was nothing, like, yes, there was some things that happened, you know, in my childhood that I could blame it on, but I'm not gonna. Yeah. Because I was so young, and it was like, honestly, it never really even came up until this last year. So it was nothing, right? Yeah. But all of my trauma and grief that I am now working through all happened to me during the addiction. Yeah. Was never before. I just made really stupid decisions that got me into an addiction. That was it. I was just dumb. I was partying, I was having fun and living my best life and thought I had it under control. And then there was a moment that happened when I realized I didn't have it under control. Yep. So at that point, I may as well say, fuck it, and just keep going. Yeah. Because this is it. This is where I'm at. So, yeah.
There you go. Heavy.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, at the same time, it's important, right? Like, there's this doesn't just happen on its own. No. Right? Like, this is all, you know, stuff that is, it's really important to talk about. And I'm okay. And you know me, I'll talk about it with anybody. I don't care. Mm-hmm. You ask me about it, I'm going to tell you. Yeah. I will always, 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 always be an open book when it comes to my traumas, the addiction. And one thing you guys will notice that I do a lot is I always try and say the addiction. I don't say my. Yeah. We don't want to claim as a Christian, this is something that we firmly believe, that we don't claim the addictions anymore.
Because we're out of it.
We are out of it.
We're recovered.
We are recovered. Now, in saying that, there are days when I'm still recovering. Yep. But it is not my addiction anymore. It's the addiction that I went through. Yeah. It's not mine, because if I say it's mine, then it's still there. So I try really hard. Sometimes I slip up and say my addiction, but I always try and focus enough to say the addiction, just so you guys are all aware at home as to why I do that. Yeah. It's not because I'm fucked up.
That's a mental... That helps you categorize it more, compartmentalize it as a mental thing.
Yeah,
too.
because
So
I don't want it to be mine.
Aside.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't want it to be mine anymore. I want it to be something that was in the past. And I always say, it's really funny because there's people who are not Christian. When us Christians say that we've been reborn, I have taken it to like a whole other level because I always say that it was literally a different person. That person is dead.
Yeah.
Like the person that was staying up for 15 days. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, when I say 15 days, I'm not fucking joking. 15 days, 4.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
That person is dead. That person no longer exists because this Caitlin could never do that again.
Yeah.
So that all of that stuff that happened, it happened, but it's in the past. So it's not a part of our future and what we're doing and what we're trying to build.
Yeah.
So I, when I got saved and I got baptized, which I did twice, by the way, because I felt like the first time just didn't work enough and just maybe I should try one more time. Let's just be safe. When I got saved, that was me saying like, I've been born again. Like I'm done. I want to get rid of that, but I will never forget that version of my life because I want people to hear about it. I want people to know how important it is.
It is important.
It's a very scary disease that a lot of people don't understand, and they don't think it's a disease. They think it's a choice.
A lot of people that are in it don't even understand it.
No, and if it was a choice, I would have never chosen to be addicted to cocaine. If it was a choice, I would have never chosen to be an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I would have never chosen to rely on whether or not I had cocaine in my pocket to make my day go.
Drugs they're fun.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Because if they weren't,
nobody
would do it.
Yeah.
They're fun until they're not fun. And by that point, you're too far gone.
Yeah. Once they're no longer fun, that's when it's like...
And it's too late then.
It's too late then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, so there you go, Mike. You just consumed our entire episode, so thank you.
No, that was good. Because we've only ever really spoken about the recovery. So it was good to get into the actual addiction itself and let people know where we're coming from.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's our comments.
That's our comments. Our entire episode.
Basically,
there you go. Okay, so let's do one of Evan's questions.
Yeah.
We'll lighten it up.
We'll lighten it up with one of Evan's questions. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, man. So I don't know if you had anything planned for this episode. So
no, I didn't.
That's good.
I was just winging it.
We're just winging it. And we'll do...
Well, I figured because you did mention to me that Mike had that question.
Yeah.
So I figured it was kind of going to consume the entire episode anyway.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Normally, I don't give you a heads up of anything. We just go.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to spring that on you because I wasn't sure if you would want to discuss it or not, or how you would want to go about it. So that one I did let you know was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're just going to...
Just a random.
Just pick one?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here.
Okay, hold on. How many is there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 10.
Okay. I'll pick a random number. And then that's the question you have to read.
Okay.
So that you can't pick.
All right.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Is it acceptable? All right, there's another one of Evan's random ass questions. Is it acceptable to just...
What?
Is it acceptable to just spin the bread bag and tuck it underneath itself, or does the twist tie have to go back on the bag? The twist tie or the bread clip?
Is that a serious question?
That's a question he asked.
No, it's not acceptable to just twist it. That's not fucking acceptable at all. That is fucking tomfoolery. Are you a fucking wolf? Are you a caveman?
That's bread blasphemy.
It is bread blasphemy.
So what do you do with the... I don't know, like, do you not put the clip back on? Who's twist tying bread? Do you not get bread clips?
Cobb's
twist ties bread.
Dummy. Yeah, you get so mad.
Yeah, so that's why I got to keep a stack of fucking bread clips.
Fresh baked bread, typically when you get it from bakeries, got twist ties. It doesn't have bread clips. So those clips, when you go into grocery stores, are color-coded by expiry date. That's why they have them. So like Wonder Bread and D'Italiano and all of those, those clips are by expiry date. That's how in the warehouse, they know what the expiry date are because every expiry date has a different color.
What?
Yes.
Isn't all Wonder Bread white?
No, not all of it. The bread is and it's got stamped on the bread clips a lot of the times too, right? So I learned this because I had a bread vendor, and so I was like, why are these all different colors? And he was like, expiry dates. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, I see.
So fresh baked bread out of a bakery that you walk into the bakery and it's like, you'll get like a twist tie on it, whatever. But mass produced bread they've got the bread clips on them. These fucking heathens upstairs.
Yes.
They'll
do the spin and twist.
Sometimes they don't even spin and twist. They just tuck and throw it.
Tuck to throw.
And that's what brings me to this week's grievance is fucking teenagers. My teenagers particularly. I love other people's. Mine are fucking annoying.
All right, so we're jumping right into airing the grievances.
The tradition begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Guys, our kids are back and I'm done. I love them so much.
Yeah.
Like they are my world. But holy fuck, do they piss me off.
It literally took 30 seconds for them to fuck up the entire house when they got home.
Yeah, because again, going into my OCD, and my OCD has been really high lately. And I think it's because, I don't know why actually. I have no idea why it's happening, but my OCD is terrible right now. So while they were gone for that 2 weeks, you and I kind of fell into like our routine.
We had a nice groove going.
And every night when we went to bed, ugh.
Ginger.
Derek's going to think I'm calling out to him.
Folks, is that him?
Ginger. Anyway. Yeah, so we were on our like routine where like we would, at night, we were going to bed at the same time. There was like no stresses and like the kitchen was clean, the house was cleaned up, and we did it together. All the dishes were put away. We didn't use the dishwasher for 2 weeks.
Yep.
The washer got used twice. Like, we were literally killing it. And then these fuckers come home. Sam ran the dishwasher twice in one day. The washer's been going every fucking day because they both forget to put their fucking laundry in the dryer.
Yeah.
So it just fucking has to be washed again. The fucking floor, like, I can't. And like, fellow ADHDers, I'm going to do this because this. You guys know what I'm doing, right? This is when you have crumbs on the bottom of your feet and you got to wipe it off because it's overstimulating to me. I can't do it. So now how often do you see me wear socks in the house?
Never.
Since kid's been home?
Yeah.
These ones are funny though.
If you can read this, leave me alone. I'm watching Packers.
It's game day, baby.
It's game day. Okay.
Yeah. So that's my grievance, teenagers. And like, they're so lazy.
They are pretty lazy.
So Sam, I need to tell them the story before we go.
Yeah.
About Sam, my lovely, like we
love our kids. Our kids are amazing.
Yes.
They're our stars and our moon.
Yeah. And Sam, this is the one I tell you that is like my angel. Like, I love this kid. He is like, he checks in on me all the time. And if I go to bed, he like, before he goes to bed, comes in the room and is like, hey mom, are you good? Is there anything I can get you? Do you need your water filled up? He's so good. He takes such good care of his mother.
Yep.
But fuck. So I have like in our linen closet where the rolled up towels are, there's like the bin of like cleaners. And then there's like in the back where the laundry is, there's a sink, and underneath that has like all of like the cleaning buckets and stuff. That's where I leave the cleaning bucket. It's a collapsible one. It tucks in. It's really fucking cute. It's been there forever. And this fucking kid, I'm standing outside, comes out and he goes, hey mom, what do you want me to dust with? I was like, is that a trick question? What the fuck do you mean? What do I want you to dust with? He's like, do you want me to use like the bucket? And I was like, yes. Well, where is it? I'm not even going to answer that question, Sam. You can go look for it. Okay. Well, is it the same place it always is? Yes, Sam. Same
Probably
place it always is. Your mother has OCD. So, yeah. Guys, I'm going to look deep into the camera when I tell you. I walked in the house and this fucking kid was looking in the hutch where my Sensi is kept and our board games and batteries in the living room. Why would somebody keep a collapsible cleaning bucket in the living room.
It's in the same spot it's always been.
And I said, Sam, did you look in the sink, underneath the sink in the back? He said, nope. I bet you it's there.
If there's one thing you can count on, it's that everything's going to be in the exact same spot.
This is the thing. And if I change things, I tell everybody.
Yeah.
I make sure it's informed. Like if I get on one of my fucking tangents, which will probably happen when I get my first shipment of Voomies back, that like I'm going to fucking reorganize everything.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be right when school's starting and I'm going to need to like whatever. But if I change things, I tell people. Like I'm like, hey guys, so the strainer is no longer with the baking stuff. I've now got it with the pots and pans. 4 fucking days in a row, this kid put the strainer over with the glass pans. And I'm like, Sam, I've told you, like, I moved it over here. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll remember that for tomorrow.
Did he?
No.
No, he did not.
No, I was looking for the strainer when I was doing meal prep the other day. And do you know where it was? Behind the air fryer. It's never even been behind there. I'm convinced that he does it to see what happens.
Yeah.
Like it's like he's playing a game of how bad I can fuck with mom's
He's trying to fuck
OCD.
with mom. Yeah.
He's wild, man. Yeah. Or like with poor Riley, like they get mad when she pisses on the floor, but she sits there and wags her tail at them and tells them, and then no, they don't move, and then he goes,
yeah. She knows.
Yeah, she knows. Anyway. Yep. So this week's grievance, teenagers.
Youngsters.
Not just youngsters, our teenagers. And again, because I got into a fight with somebody on TikTok about this, because you and I went and hid in a fucking hotel parking lot and ate fucking McDonald's without our children.
Oh, I need to do that again.
And it was like, we posted it on TikTok and it got like fucking 14,000 views. Everybody thought it was hilarious. And then I made it a series because the kids smelt the McDonald's when they got in the Jeep. And they're like, when did you have McDonald's? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
They're playing detective, yeah.
Yeah, so then the black leggings. Anyway, and then I was like, okay, well, what are some things I can eat without them knowing? So I was waiting for them outside of school one day and I decided to eat a Snickers bar. And the one time that Leia offers to throw my clothes in the laundry is when that Snickers bar was in my leggings pocket. And the one time she actually cleans pockets out was when then she was like, and she knows because like I always get a king size Snickers bar and I give her half. That's like her and our thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, when did you have a Snickers bar? And I was like, I didn't. She's like, there's a wrapper. I can see it. And to tie into the grievance of our children, guess what happened to that second pair of black leggings, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, yeah, the black legging saga continues.
Yeah. Leia comes out of her room and goes, Mom, I'm really sorry. And I goes, that's okay, baby. What's wrong? And she goes, no, like, I'm really sorry. And I was like, what's wrong? And she pulls out my fucking Zaya leggings from behind the back. And she goes, I don't even know how they got in there. And I'm like, yeah, because it's very normal for leggings to just disappear off the back of my door into your room.
Yeah, into your dresser.
This fucking kid.
So,
anyway, we found the black leggings. I'm not crazy.
Well,
I am. Because I definitely thought that I was washing 2 pairs of leggings, but I wasn't. I was washing one.
So funny.
Anyway, that's it, guys.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to share a grievance today because my grievance is these kids.
It's the support.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what we're pointing at, but...
The support button? Isn't it supposed to be up here somewhere?
Is it? I don't know. I don't have a button made. Oh. So I don't know what we're doing here.
Okay.
Button would be down in the description underneath.
Okay, do
Click that link to support the podcast. This one's a little janky with all the technical issues we had, but it was an important one, so we got it out there. And we'll definitely do more talks about the actual dealing with and living with addiction and shit too, not just the recovery. The recovery is the important part, but the addiction part is pretty important too.
Yes, sir.
Next episode, I'm going to be out of town, so we're going to do it early.
Yep.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
There's a chance it might be late, Evan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have to fly to Fort Chip for a wedding, so I'm going to be gone all weekend.
And then we have
another wedding.
And then we're driving to Edmonton for our friend Rachel and Connor's wedding.
Yeah.
In Edmonton. And then you've got 4 weddings left, and then that's it. No, you have like 6.
Yeah, and then Christmas party season.
Yeah, you've got the month of October. You get the first 3 weekends of October to yourself.
So, there we go. It's going to be a busy one.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for hearing me out.
We'll see you next time.
Fucking balloons!